This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
He has time. He's got him. Side touch is there. Leaping grab. Touchdown. Touchdown.
Make your coffee to perfection. Expect nothing else. Do you like to make yourself a hot cup of coffee to start your day? We have both whole bean and grounded. Also great for all you iced coffee if not a hot kind of person. Even make yourself a frappe to quench your thirst. The best tasting coffee with espresso. It's only $18.99 plus taxes for a 12-ounce bag. Buy 1 to 5 bags and shipping is only $7. If you spend over $100, shipping is
Just have to show this because Steve just made that up the other day for promotional purposes. What a great that's how we're all going to be drinking our coffee when we're dead. Yeah, that's right. Bear 6 Actual Wake the Dead. It's so good. That's what I'm drinking right now. Good morning. Welcome to Ken and Ken in the morning. And of course, we have Rob, and Rob and I have our ugly coffee mugs. Rob's is a bit uglier than mine, of course.
It's all opinion based. It's all opinion based. Remember that.
All opinion. Oh, of course, of course.
No. See, here I say Ken's factually wrong with that. That's great.
I'll take the U.S. Army mug over the Green Bay Packer mug any day.
Yeah.
But hey, we have some news this morning. We have some news. Jay Cutler received a DUI last night and also got charged with possession of a firearm.
Oh, I didn't see that second part. I saw he got charged with the DUI. Oh.
Where does he live? That he can't have a firearm.
Well, that's the thing. He lives in several states. He's got his place in Nashville, and he's got a place down here in Florida. Let me see where it was.
How does a guy like that not have a carry concealed?
Because depending on what state you're in, they make it a real pain to get.
Yeah, but
where in the heck is
Williamson
County?
Tennessee.
He was in Tennessee.
So it had to be because he was intoxicated then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Possession of a handgun while under the influence.
Okay. Yeah. That makes more sense.
They still have shotguns in the rack.
Yeah, you know. I mean, do people still have that? I mean,
I think some still do, bro. You go.
I was gonna say here in freaking central New York, you still got a couple rednecks rocking it.
What's up, Homer? Homer, JB.
Not too bad, Mr. Simpson.
I mean, that used to be a common thing. Like even in growing up in Chicago. I mean, you know, you're in the suburbs of Chicago. You had guys with racks in the high school parking lot with their weapons in the rack.
Yeah, in the rack, bro.
And we never had school shootings. Imagine that.
Imagine.
But, you know, maybe that's because the way we treated people back in the day was a little different. I don't know. So last night was a blowout, as we kind of suspected. Well, we didn't suspect a blowout. We suspected a win.
Yeah, holy shit.
It was a major blowout. I would have never guessed that'd be the score.
Nope.
I mean, anything and everything that could go wrong for Nola went wrong. Injury-wise, play-wise. I mean, that's one of those games you just go.
Did they hype the rookie storylines, though, man? I mean, all about Rattler, all about, you know, I mean, holy cow, the backstories on those guys they were giving us.
Yeah, I was just monitoring the game because the new season Lincoln Lawyer dropped, and I watched the whole season yesterday. Once again, retired.
Oh yeah, man! Shut
Um,
up! Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. I want to see it too because I've been waiting.
it was good. It was good. So I kind
All
of
right, don't say nothing.
I monitored the game while watching the final few episodes. But I was like, God, just whatever. And I saw the final that last interception.
He
Was
does,
like,
man.
what the heck was that?
He totally does.
Yeah,
That was horrible, man.
The
That
dude was a
horrible.
fifth rounder. What do you expect, though? I mean, it's like, dude, it's your fifth rounder. I mean,
Oh, he had a chip on
played
his shoulder, though. I'm sorry.
fifth rounder.
I think that chip went
That shit
stale.
was killing me, man. That shit was killing. He had a chip on his shoulder.
Yeah, because he's a fifth rounder, which is probably where he deserved to go.
Fucking A. He's lucky he didn't go in the 7th round. He sucks. Fuck. Holy shit.
I mean,
Thank God
look,
that somebody got hurt. That's why he could play.
I mean, I understand though why they did the hype thing, because look at it. Look at Purdy, right, Mr. Irrelevant. Look at my backup quarterback. Both my backup quarterback, undrafted free agent, undrafted free agent. There are enough guys now who are we're missing Mr. Broski Bear. Hopefully he's back. There are enough of these, undrafted free agent rookies, late round pick guys who come into the league and do well. That now fans like with Rattler, like, oh, he should be, dude, he's a fifth rounder, but they expect him to be like a first rounder. Like, dude, fifth rounder. I mean, the fact that Purdy hit means every GM got it wrong. That he had to go to Mr. Irrelevant. Every GM missed on that one, right? Except for San Francisco. When you look at Pages,
Well, I'd even say they still missed getting them that late.
but I won't say they missed because they got him. If you can get him in the 7th with the last pick in the draft, and you get that kind of value, you win, right? But I mean,
Yeah.
Bajan,
Yeah, you do.
everyone missed on Bajan. I mean, that just says agent that GMs missed, and they're gonna miss because how many players are there every year that are eligible to be drafted? 500-600. That's a lot of players. It's more than that, probably, isn't it? I mean,
couldn't even fathom the guess, honestly.
Mr.
There are Packer fans out there. There are Packer fans out there that relish in the fact that every other team passed on Rodgers before they got him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, think about it. I mean, there's roughly, with compensation picks and everything else, roughly almost 300 players get drafted every year. And then you've got another 600-700 undrafted rookies that try to make teams, or, a lot of them don't even try, but you figure every team of the 32 teams, everyone has at least 3 or 5 guys at camp that were undrafted rookies, at least, if not more. So, I mean, it's easy to miss a guy. It's easy to miss a guy. It really is, especially when we're looking at Division II schools, right? Which is where both my backups came from, Division II schools. So, when you start throwing D2 in there, and now they're starting to realize, wait, there's some talent at D2, right? At all kinds of positions. I can understand why there's the overhype on Rattler coming in the 5th round, because we found, because the GMs have screwed up and let some good talent go to late or not even in the draft and pick them up to have them do well. So, the problem is, though, they get one guy. Like Bajan does well as an undrafted free agent rookie. You get Purdy does well as a 7th rounder, Mr. Irrelevant. Now everyone expects that. Like, dude, those guys are
that's like when Green Bay hit on Sam Shields there as an undrafted dude. You wouldn't believe all the fans that were sitting there talking about, oh, well, we can trade our picks for other players and stuff like that because we can just pick up these undrafted guys and they'll come right up. No, he's an outlier.
Yeah. Fans always take these outliers and make them the norm.
Yeah.
Like, dude, they're not the norm.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, And every draft is different because we go back to something we said, was it yesterday, maybe before yesterday, with the quarterback draft. Like now everyone say, oh, next year's quarterback class is going to be terrible. Dude, that's what they said last year coming into the current quarterback class. And the current quarterback class is killing it in the league. Minus last night. The first round guys are, at least.
There you go.
You know, I mean, it's it just mind boggles sometimes the way fans think or some of these analysts think. It's like, don't tell me this quarterback class in the draft are going to be a bunch of nobodies, because that's what you said last year. And now we've got Caleb doing things. We got Drake May doing things. We got all these young rookies. Bo Nix doing things. I mean, seriously. It's going to be heavy on this. Okay. I mean, what was last year's draft supposed to be big on? Not coming into it. Remember, after 2 years ago, after we made that trade, right? All the quarterback class is going to be nothing. There's going to be nothing in that draft but linemen, I think is what they told us. How many linemen went in the first round? It was quarterbacks, wide receivers.
Yeah, I was going to say you only had a handful of linemen go this year.
Yeah, Joe Alt is all I can think of who went early.
You had about the
Anybody
average.
else?
There's usually, anywhere between 1 to 5, maybe.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I mean, so
it was a crazy draft. Never was there that many quarterbacks. I mean, it was like 14 first picks were all out of offense. I mean, it was like weird. It was strangely weird, but it's something we never seen.
Brady's another good one. He was a miss from a lot of GMs. Right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
Brady went way late. J.J. Watt didn't go early. I mean, hey, Josh, the Saints look like a practice squad. That means the Lions were looking at them to find their new edge rusher.
Well, rookie quarterback, no wide receivers. They got.
It's funny that you mentioned that, Ken, because I have been starting to hear a little bit of rumors of Chase Young to the Lions.
Really?
They can have him. He gives up on plays. That's why the Bears. I was all about the Bears trying to sign him.
Wow.
And then I started watching, and then you start to hear stuff about him, right? And here's the thing, with Chase Young, I think he's a bit washed, and I think after the knee injury,
he's washed.
He's now making more business decisions than playing decisions. Because think about it, dude. His teammate of 3.5 years is on the Bears roster, and they didn't even try to sign him. What does that tell you?
Yeah.
They probably went to Montez Sweat and said, "Hey, what's the deal on your former teammate?" And he probably said, "Dude doesn't have it anymore.
Trash."
He gives up.
He said, "Trash."
Yeah, he and I've seen it already. Some Saints fans bitching about it. The same thing that Niner fans were bitching about last year after he got there.
Yep. He's another Clinton Dix. Did great his rookie year and then disappeared.
Well, he was good his first year and a half, almost 2 years until the knee injury. He came back off the knee injury. He was still okay. He can get to the quarterback, but if he has to do anything extra, he gives up. He's that was the complaint in Dallas, in San Francisco last year at the end of the year, and now it's been the complaint in New Orleans. It's like he kind of gives up on stuff. I don't think the Lions would go for Young. If they do, they're stupid.
I'm just saying that's what the rumors are.
Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah. Hey, we have to get Clinton Dix at least once a week. That's in Ken's contract, okay?
Talking about.
Hey,
so yeah, I don't think you're gonna
I
trade
totally
him.
believed in after that rookie year. Went out and bought his authentic jersey for him to just shit the bed. There's a reason why I got some hate for
And I like Clinton Dix. I was hoping the Bears were going to draft him that year, and then you guys took Amos. We got Dix via Washington.
Red put Houston on blast.
Dix was serviceable in Chicago, but that was about it. He was serviceable. He wasn't anything you wrote home about. He was okay. And then when the Bears let him go, I mean, he kind of like, that was it. You really didn't hear about him anymore.
No,
I mean,
I think he went to Dallas after that.
Yeah,
he went to Dallas and didn't do too bad.
Yeah, he was like serviceable, but he was, once again, he wasn't a guy you heard about anymore. You know, I mean, yeah, James Houston is their own Chase Young. Jeez. I don't know what the Lions are going to do. I really, honestly, I think they should go after Hassan Reddick. That makes a lot of sense for not just this year, but maybe next year if the money can be right.
With his attitude issues, I don't know.
See, but we don't know what is his attitude because he went to the Jets. Like, I don't hear Eagles fans saying stuff either way.
I've heard a lot of Eagles fans talk trash about him.
Have you? Okay, because I really haven't heard it as much.
Even when he was on the team.
I tend not to listen to Sheagles much, but yeah, I mean, this weekend's going to prove a lot. This weekend's going to prove a lot in that game, I think. I don't think the Lions will have almost any pass rush. I think Jordan Love, or not Jordan Love, that the Ghost Whisperer is going to have all day to throw. I don't
know if he's going to have all day. It's definitely going to get a lot less pressure than when Hutch be in there.
Oh, a lot less.
Their defensive line is still decent. It just sucks that they're losing half their sack production pretty much overnight.
Well, and they're losing the guy who pulls all the doubles and triple teams. So, I mean, the protection should be much better for Minnesota this week because of it. I mean, I don't know what they're going to do over there. I mean, you can bring in some second and third tier guys and maybe get some limited success, rotating guys in, maybe going through that approach. But
that's who's next man up is Houston. That's
next
man up for
it.
Who's next man up? That's my question. Because that's what it is, right? Next man up. We all do.
Yeah,
it. We all got to go through it.
But let's be honest though. The guy behind the starter, in some cases it's like 1A, 1B. I get it, right? But in a lot of cases it's 1A and C. You know what I mean? Like the drop off is pretty significant.
Coaching's going to come in. They're going to have to get something out of these guys. I mean, they're not going to get. You can't expect them to do Hutch performance, but you got to get something. I mean,
yeah, I was going to say if you
they're gonna have to do some exotic blitzing and some other stuff.
Something.
That's what I'm thinking. This is where you're going to see the Lions start to.
Oh, there you go, Levi. I can't. I'm not even gonna fuck his name.
That's why I didn't look it up because I couldn't pronounce his name.
Onwuzurike
and so shit. Our defense is still better than last season. I think it's going to be a 20 put. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, Levi is up next plus rotation.
I was saying Levi limited. He's done pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, there you go. That's
guys can always do good in limited. It's when that's the other thing that we do as fans. Like, hey, Booker came in for 5 plays and got a sack. Just think if he was in all 30.
Yeah, no, I know. We think it's that simple.
It's not that simple. It's like
it's just because he's fresh. He's probably fresh, And they got to. I mean, they're right if they keep the rotation going. I mean, but you still lose that. You still lose that Hutch. I mean, Hutch brings something. The other guys are worried about him. So they're putting
I'm gonna have to watch a Lions game just to hear him try to say Onwuzurike. Onwuzurike.
And thanks, JB, for spelling that out phonetically for us.
Oh yeah, Onwuzurike. Yeah, okay. I still can't get it.
Or Zari, Kentucky? What?
KY Jelly? What?
I mean, that's gonna be an interesting game, but like it goes back though to how we as fans evaluate our backups and our benches. And in some cases, you can say the backup is damn near the same because it's a tough battle, right, for the position. That the starter and the backup is 1A, 1B. And that's true in some cases. But in most cases, the starter versus the backup is like a night and day stark reality in some cases. In some cases, like a 1 and a true B. There is a drop off. I mean, even like with the Bears secondary, like between our secondary, our starters, and our rotation guys behind them, there is a drop off. There is a drop off. I mean, Owens is okay, but he's not as good as Brisker. Not even close.
Yep.
He's serviceable. He's great in rotation.
Yep. He's awesome when you got to get your guy off the field to catch his breath, and he'll even make a play or two. But you don't want him out there long term because he will give up a shit ton of plays.
Yeah. I mean,
it's probably because he's just out of shape and he can't go a full. He can't do that, you know. He's not meant to do that. I don't know, man.
I mean, I think he's prepared. It's just he's not as good as the guy in front of him. And there's a reason why the other guy is in front of them, because they're not as good. So there is going to be drop off. Crosby's not leaving the Raiders.
Yeah, but I will say I have seen a couple of things out there going to what Isaac said, that Crosby doesn't want to be for a rebuild. Who knows what the hell that means, but it means something.
And then like Devontae was throwing AP under the bus yesterday, I guess, when they asked him some questions in New York, and that whole situation with the Raiders, man, I'll tell you what, ever since John Gruden left, that team's been a disaster. Like, just bring Gruden back. Fuck the NFL. Bring Gruden back.
I don't think Gruden wants back. I don't think Gruden wants back now. I don't.
The NFL was willing to bring him back, but he would have had to have dropped the lawsuit, and he said there ain't no way in hell he's doing that.
Yeah, I agree with him.
I agree with
100% agree with him.
But I mean,
100%
ever since, think about it, that team was ascending, and then the bullshit with Gruden happened, and since that time, it's gone downhill fast. And AP was a little bit of a breath of fresh air for him in the culture last year, and I think we all agreed with his selection as head coach. Because he bleeds Raiders. And even though he was a Giant, he bleeds Raiders, right? And now it seems like, I don't know, maybe there's some issues there. I don't know. But they got to do something there in Vegas. Hey, just
look at this. We start talking Raiders and Joe shows up. What the fuck?
And Joe, I was saying that ever since Gruden left, that team's just been a dumpster. Like, Max Crosby talking about how he wants out now. And, they're not going to trade him, but it's just like ever since Gruden left, that team was ascending, right? And then Gruden leaves.
Where did he say that he wants out?
Downhill since.
He said
where did he say that he wants out?
He did say that he didn't want to be a part of a rebuild, and that he wants to win, whether that's here or not.
Or somewhere.
He said wherever I am. But,
wherever I am is what he said. Yeah, you're right. That's what he said. Wherever I am. You saw the video too, so you saw the video too.
Yeah, I saw the video. That's why I'm wondering where he said he wants out.
Yeah, he didn't say one out. You're right.
He didn't directly say it, but it was kind of around.
Bro, he just left it open so that people could make their own decisions. That's what he did.
It wasn't really an endorsement for the Raiders.
But you're also forgetting, like, just on Sunday after we lost to the Steelers, like they asked him about that. And he literally came out and told the reporters, like, people make up whatever kind of shit they want. Like they speculate on everything, but unless you hear it from my mouth, like, it's just speculation. Like he's I'm here, Joe, I'm a Raider for life.
But Joe, he says that, and then he comes up with this open-ended "wherever I am" comment. He feeds right into it. He fed right into it. I don't think he's going to go anywhere either. I think
he's
Mark
probably
Davis
trolling.
is never going to trade him.
He's troll there.
I think he's probably
trolling.
Isaac comes out from under the IRS bridge.
I mean, but more of the point, Joe, is ever since Gruden left, that team has been in decline ever since Gruden left. And I think we all agreed that AP he bleeds Raiders silver and black. He was probably the right selection for head coach, but now Devontae's threw him under the bus when he got to New York. They're not playing well. What is going on with that Raiders franchise? I mean, do they just need John Gruden back or what?
I don't think I agree with that assessment that they've been downhill ever since Gruden left. I think that when Gruden left, they were left with a shitty situation. People seem to forget that they were 3-1 when Gruden got fired. Like they were on a roll, and they were actually finally starting to look like they were going to be something with Gruden. Yep. And then the NFL had to literally pull the emails out of some fucking cave in Qumran, Egypt, to get rid of Gruden, right?
Yeah.
And it just so happened when we were like on having a winning season, and then we end up having a winning season anyway, and we go to the playoffs against the Bengals, where they had where Jerome Boger blew that early whistle and gave the Bengals a touchdown, and we lost by a touchdown.
Say his name again, Joe.
So then they get Josh McDaniels, and that was a downhill moment for sure. And then they get rid of Carr. But then when they get rid of McDaniels, AP actually led the team fairly well last year. They ended up, not with a winning record, but on an upward trajectory. You felt like they were doing well.
I just think.
And then this year, it was just complete.
I'm sorry. I think last year just slowed the circling. They've been circling, man, and that just slowed it.
No, I mean,
maybe.
I don't think it's. I don't think you put. And Devontae defecting and Devontae leaving just furthers that. Devontae leaving just makes that even more. I mean, I think he's just like protecting his image. You know, he's like, I want to be a Raider, but
Joe's right though. AP they ended the season on a high note last year, on an upward note, but it hasn't translated this year. And that's what I'm saying. Like, look at when Gruden left. Why did they have a winning season? Because Carr ran the offense from that point forward. Why? Because Carr was probably the only other person in that franchise who understood Gruden's very complicated offense. He ran it. They played well. And you can run the conspiracy theories about the playoff games, which I tend to agree with Joe on, because the NFL's had a hard-on for the Raiders ever since Al moved them from Oakland to L.A. to begin with. They've always been at odds, the NFL and that family. So I'm not totally surprised that I'll buy into the conspiracy theories some, because there are some legs to that. But then you come into this season with AP, who, like I said, we all thought after last year, the guy bleeds silver and black. Mm-hmm. He's a Raider to the core. But that team right now still is mired in issues. And then you get this thing with Devontae. Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe getting rid of Devontae was addition by subtraction as far as the locker room or the Raider way.
I believe so. I believe so, because I think what's happening this year is I think that Devontae and AP were at odds. I think it's a culture. It was a culture issue, and it started last year, like with that whole receiver documentary that Devontae did, where he was like, "I got to get the fuck out of here, bro. I've never been hit this much." Like, he basically shit all over his team, and then like you're gonna come back and sit in the locker room, and everybody saw that. Like all of his teammates saw that, and then they're gonna sit there and like they have to play nice because it's Devontae, because he's a superstar, right? But like. I think that is part of the problem, is that everybody knew Devontae wasn't happy. Everybody knew, like, obviously this dude isn't with us 100%, you know, and he's getting like treated with kid gloves. He doesn't have to play in the preseason. He doesn't have to do this, but we do. Like, I think that it affected the culture some. And also then there's just plain old injuries. Like, the Raiders are snake bit. So we have 7 starters that are injured. We have Michael Mayer, one of our, a tight end that is a promising tight end. He's out with like mental health issues for the last 4 weeks. We have the draft situation where, I think that the team was really expecting to get a quarterback. And then when that didn't happen, it sort of put a hole in the balloon. You know what I mean? Like,
so let me ask you this,
I don't care who you are. Like, if you're expecting a young first round quarterback, right? You're expecting, we're finally going to start ascending, and then all of a sudden your starting quarterback is Gardner Minshew. I'm sorry, that's hard to get behind, dude. Like,
so
it's hard to like go out there and be like, no, we're still going to fucking make the playoffs. Like, you know what I mean?
So yeah, I saw it, but Joe.
Next
Yeah,
topic.
So Joe, what
Holy shit.
what are here's the thing. You think the Raiders are buying or selling? I wouldn't be surprised in a way if the Raiders are buying at the trade deadline. To be honest with you. Like they've got some pieces, right? Some legit pieces. I would not be surprised if they buy some other pieces if they're still looking for their quarterback, if the draft is going to be the path to the quarterback. I would not be surprised if they buy some other pieces to go on that team and then draft their quarterback. Like, go out, like, you know what? Go and sign Hassan Reddick to that defense, right? Go ahead and trade like a third rounder and get him on that defense. And then look, if you're still not going to be that good and you're going to be able to either AOC is going to be the quarterback next year, like you think he's going to progress, or you're going to draft one, or maybe get a better one in free agency. I wouldn't be surprised if the Raiders bought here at the deadline to add pieces to make that team better for whoever the quarterback is going to be next year.
I think something that kind of flies under the radar is that the Raiders have 108 million in cap space available next season.
They can buy.
So, same situation as a team. Yeah, they could be buyers. I wouldn't mind making a trade for Reddick because we actually do have the money that we could sign him to a long-term deal, and pairing him with Crosby would be awesome. But the thing is that, like, I don't think the Raiders have to tank. I think this year has already kind of gotten away from them. And if, like, Wilkins is out for another 3 or 4 weeks, like, you know, you have injuries that are going to prevent you from winning a lot of games. So I don't think they even really have to tank. I think they're going to end up
I'm not saying
top
tank.
10. No, I know you're not saying tank. I'm saying I don't even think they have to tank. I think they're just naturally going to lose a majority of the games going forward. And I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, if Max can hold on for it, which, you know, I think he will, because the Raiders have been really good to him, then next year looks a whole lot brighter. From what I see, I think the Raiders are going to make a move for Shedeur Sanders because Tom Brady has already been coaching that dude and mentoring that dude, and like Tom Brady just became an owner.
Hear you about that. Come on, man, that's going to change things, man.
I'm happy about it. A lot of Raider fans aren't, but I'm like, a lot of Raider fans, because of the Tuck rule thing and because
oh my god,
and
get
because
over
of
that
Tom,
shit. The real
well,
fans,
dude, I'm just telling you what they're.
The real fans gotta love it. The real fans gotta love it.
Yeah,
I'm telling you what I'm hearing from them. They a lot of people are saying that Al would be rolling in his grave, and I'm like trying to remind them, like, no, Al would be absolutely ecstatic with this move because Al knows that his son Mark is not the football mind that Al was, and people seem to forget who Al Davis really was. Like, Al Davis always said, someday I'm going to be gone, and there's going to have to be somebody that steps up and takes the Raiders into the future and perpetuates the greatness of the Raiders. Those are his exact words.
And
like,
you know what? I think
so. If that person is Tom Brady,
I'm
fine with that. Who knows more about winning than Tom Brady?
Yeah, I think Tom Brady being a part owner is first off just on his ability to see talent in other quarterbacks for the draft. Secondly, in his ability, because he's an owner, guess where he gets to be every day if he wants to be? Active practice facilities, roaming around, seeing the players. Oh, mentoring the quarterback room. I mean, he can sit in that quarterback room every day and train up and teach up those quarterbacks. It's brilliant. I mean, I look at Caleb spent a lot of time. Caleb spent a lot of time. Caleb Williams, coming into this season, spent a lot of time with Tom Brady this year, right? As part of the NFL rookie mentorship program, whatever. He spent a lot of time with Brady. He picked his brain every chance he could get. Brady is a guy that if you can have around your quarterbacks or around your organization, you probably want him. A, he's a smart guy. He loves football. We know he loves football. Hell, he gave up his marriage pretty much for it and everything else. The guy loves football. I mean, he's value add no matter what. I think he's going to make the Raiders better over time. Now to Big Rock talking about Shedeur Shedeur, I get it. I mean, I think he
you
might
definitely
be a bust too. That his dad's hyping him up so much. You know, I'm always weary about that hype train. I don't think you want Sanders as your quarterback. Actually, I think you give AOC more time with Brady, that he's going to be a quarterback that's going to do well enough for you. I don't know if you need to, you know, I don't know if Sanders is the answer. Put it that way.
I think Sanders will be the
I
pick
don't
for
know.
the Raiders. Like, he's a perfect fit for the Raiders, but you know what?
I don't know if Sanders will be the pick. They're linking him already because Brady is kind of mentoring him.
Mhm.
Like, I don't know if Sanders is even the best quarterback in this draft. He is good though. Like,
No.
I to shit all over the dude, and like, come on, he's playing with a team that like has some talent, but their offensive line is extremely porous, and he's looked good in every game he's played.
That's exactly
you know,
why they're gonna go after Sanders, because he's mobile in the pocket. You know, he has athleticism. You know what I mean? The best QB in this draft that's gonna be in this draft is Cam Ward. There's no doubt about that. You know what I mean? So, but you know
Brady's
what?
getting no love in the
I want to
comments.
revisit.
Holy shit, bro! They
I want
roasted
to
Brady.
But
I want to
Brady,
revisit another
look at-
point. Yeah, I want to revisit another point though, Joe, about your Raiders, is that yes, Devontae Adams clearly didn't want to be on the team, and you know this was a move that the Raiders needed to do, is to kind of move him because he was unhappy. You know, he found a little silver lining a little bit when he was getting the ball more, but then there was disgruntles here and there. But I think Antonio Pierce kind of shot himself in the foot when he said players where he was calling out players, you know what I mean, upon the public, and saying players were doing business moves. Like that kind of put a dampers on your team, right? Don't matter who you are. And I know, what you call Antonio Pierce is a legend, and he's highly regarded around the Raider organization. At the same time, you're like basically a first-time head coach over there, and you're telling your players, something that's degrading like that, like, oh, these players are not playing for me, they're making business decisions. It kind of like dampers the locker room, like no matter what, no matter the players say it or not, you know what I mean? And
I don't disagree with you, Isaac,
yeah,
but I think I was happy that AP called out the business decisions, because there were players that were making business decisions, and we saw it on tape. And the very next week, Jack Jones was benched for the first quarter for making business decisions.
yeah.
And so I think with the culture that AP is trying to establish, he's trying to establish accountability. And Devontae didn't want to be a part of that accountability, and he was already not a part of it. So, like, he was already getting, like I said, treated with kid gloves. He was getting special treatment that other guys weren't getting, and that's going to cause resentment. So I'm glad that Devontae's gone, number one. But number two, like, any player, in my opinion, any player that can't handle being called out for making business decisions, if they're actually making business decisions, doesn't need to be a Raider anyway. Like, they're not in on the culture. Like,
but the thing is, though, like,
Isaac, let me back Joe up on this real quick, though. Look, at AP is an old school Raider head, man. Like, he's trying to bring that old school Raider, misfit culture, if you will, back. That Lyle Alzado, kind of culture. That's what he's doing. Like, we're like the Renegades. We're kick gloves. Fuck you. That's AP. And so AP diamond people out in public say, if you don't have the skin, fucking get out of here. Like, I don't want no weak ass bitches on my team, is basically what AP is saying to Devontae Adams and anyone else. That's old school. That's old
100%. That's what he's saying.
That's old school.
He's
Raiders.
like, if you're a weak ass bitch, like, go ahead and get your shit and get going. Like, we're gonna trade you. Like, we don't need you.
Yeah, it's understandable. It's understandable.
This is real Raider shit right here, and that the thing is not everybody's cut out to be a Raider, dude.
Yeah,
like,
look, it's understandable. You know what I mean? Like, it's
man, where's the autumn wind? Establish a culture.
Establish a culture.
I know, right? Like,
but then,
that shit gets my blood pumping, dude. Like,
look,
the autumn wind pumping in here.
It establishes a culture, right? I mean, that's always been the Raider culture. You know what I mean? Kind of mean, mugged, and rough, around the edges type of thing. But at the same time, at that same time, there's some coaches that try to do that approach, like Matt Patricia and things like that. It rubs players off in the wrong way sometimes, you know what I mean? And it makes your team
Matt
go
Patricia
a different
didn't
direction than
try
it's
to do
supposed to
that
go.
Yeah, but Isaac, they didn't try to do that as a Raider. Matt Patricia did that in the Lions. The Lions aren't the Raiders. I mean, we're talking.
Yeah, but Flores
this
also
is their
tried to do that with
identity.
but it's
Right,
it's happened
this
in
is
other teams
that's
though.
that
It's
franchise's
not just the Lions.
But Isaac, it doesn't matter what other coaches have done in other places. This is the Raiders, and that's the Raiders' identity as a franchise. So I mean, I agree with you. It doesn't work anywhere else, but this is their identity, and they will sink and swim by this identity. And AP is trying to bring back this Raiders culture and identity that's unique to the Raiders. And if you don't fit it, he doesn't have time for you.
I get it.
That's
you know what I mean? I get the culture you're trying to establish. But some teams are just, I mean, some players now, they're so sensitive, they're not reacting to that. You know what I mean? Like, if you
not Raiders.
Look,
I agree.
Look, Joe, if you had this culture in the 90s, yes, these Raider players would be like balls to the wall. Who cares? Who cares what anybody thinks? You know what I mean? If our coach puts us on blast, we're going to play the next day. These players are so coddled now these days that if you hurt their little feelings, they don't react the way you want them to react. You know what I mean? That's the way things are now.
I don't disagree with you, Isaac, but I think that I think that the Raiders are making a conscious effort to avoid players like that. And if we end up with players like that, because the thing is you don't really know someone's a little bitch until you get them in the building and you get them practicing and playing, and then you find out like, oh, this guy talked good at the combine, but he's actually a little bitch. So now we got to get rid of him. You know what I mean? Like AP is weeding out the dudes who can't hack it. Yeah. And I personally, I hope that Mark Davis and the ownership gives him long enough to do that, to establish the culture, to get the guys that we want in there, because I think that he has the opportunity to change the culture.
Oh yeah.
Because AP. The thing I like about AP, he is very inexperienced as a head coach, and he makes bad decisions at times, like you would expect a rookie head coach to do. Like, I'm okay with that. Like, you know, there's times where I've disagreed with decisions that he's made, like he didn't go for it on a 4th and 1, or you know, like there's decisions that he's made that I didn't agree with. But overall, I understand the mission. I understand what he's trying to do. I see the vision, you know. He's trying to get players that have that old school mentality of like they can handle being called out if they're slacking. You know, you want accountable people, because that's winning teams have accountability, dude. Like, you know, you never once saw Tom Brady like blame people for losing. You know, he would always take the blame on himself, and he would give all the credit to everyone else. You know, like that's what winners do.
I mean,
and I'm just using Brady as an example. There's a lot of players that have done that, you know, like good players that.
Well, we've seen it.
And coaches.
We've seen it with Kelsey when he ragdolled Andy Reid. You know what I mean? Like during one play not getting the ball. So, yeah, I mean, there's cultures out there. I mean, it's football. People are playing with aggression. They're playing with – that's why it's not a good idea to interview a football player after a loss. You know what I mean? Like, they're going to say some crazy
the Raiders,
shit.
Though, I think the Raiders are I agree with what Joe is saying, though. Like, they're on the right track, and I hope they give AP the time, because it's going to take a while to unfuck everything that got messed up in the Daniels year. You know, I mean, the guy set him back 5-6 years. AP has got to weed out some of those bad business decisions, you know, the weak-minded players, right? They got to bring in guys who culturally align with what the Raiders have been and want to be again. And when Chucky came back, they were that. That's why Carr was a perfect fit for him, because Carr is the Raider way. I mean, the way even just the way Carr looks, he looks like he's going to go murder someone. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just that whole identity that the Raiders had. They lost it, and now AP's trying to. And look it's a massive growing pain when you have to let a talent like, you know, Davante Adams go. But that's sometimes what's required in order to get your identity back. I think that's what they're doing. And if they can keep bringing in these players that are going to buy into the Raider way with AP, they're going to get success, like the Rich Gannon years. You know, Gannon was another guy. Everyone's like, oh, well, the dude was tough as nails. The guy gets his hand stepped on, bleeding, and he's still throwing bombs. I mean, they're like, whatever, we don't care. We're just tough SOBs. We're going to punch you in the face. Fuck you. That's what AP wants. Davante Adams isn't that. And that's why he's calling out business decisions and everything else. And I don't think they're going to play, man. I think they're just like, that's like if Sanders goes there, dude, if Sanders gets drafted by the Raiders, the kid's in for a rude awakening from the way he gets treated now to how he's going to get traded in Vegas.
Let's be honest. Davante wanted out as soon as Derek Carr was gone. You know what I mean? The only reason why basically he wanted to be a Raiders, play with Carr, you know, his old high school teammate. You know what I mean? And then as soon as Carr was gone, that's when Davante started acting up. That's when he started pushing a guy that was holding a light, you know what I mean, in the game, which we never seen in Green Bay. You know, him like.
But that just goes to kind of prove the point that I was making, which is that the other players saw that. And when you see that one of your main guys that's supposed to be one of your captains is not bought in, it affects the locker room. It trickles down, dude. So I'm glad that we got rid of him. And I don't think Crosby is one of those guys. Like, Crosby may secretly be unhappy with the way that things are playing out, but he's 100% all in, and he's giving his all every single day. Like, and he expects the guys around him to do that too. Like, nobody is in that locker room right now thinking like, oh, Crosby wants out, or Crosby isn't in with us. Everybody knows that Crosby is 100% here with you. Like, you know, Crosby like he's all in on, and he's bought in.
He fits that Raiders mold. And, I mean, the Raiders, even their kickers, like Janikowski, like give me another Seabass. I need another Janikowski on that roster. I mean, even when they picked their kickers, they were that attitude. Because Janikowski would kill a dude.
I'm going to tell you what the Raiders need. What the Raiders need more than anything is they need a quarterback like Rich Gannon. And I'm not even saying like skill wise, like, or skill set wise, like, but Gannon absolutely, like, the players hated Gannon because he held them accountable. Like, if a player dropped the ball in practice on Friday, he would get in his fucking face and say, "Hey, dude, we don't drop the ball on Friday. Like, that's not what we do." You know, like, Gannon had the commitment to excellence that is the trademark of the Raiders. And we need a quarterback. If you look at our quarterbacks now, it's like Minshew throws a pick and he's just like, well, whatever, man. I still got my van, you know, like, that's bullshit. We need a quarterback that's going to get in their fucking face. What, you know, the quarterback's job is not to be the president of the fucking fan club, dude. The quarterback's job is to hold that entire team accountable, dude. That entire offense accountable. He's supposed to be the coach on the field.
The other thing the Raiders need is confidence. Like, just like when they were, you know, grabbing Mahomes' play doll, playing with it in practice and talking about we're going to take down Mahomes. You know what I mean? They just need that confidence back. You know what I mean? And they can play because Minshew's, you know what I mean? He can play. You know what I mean? Like Minshew, like he can make the throws. He can, you know what I mean? You can work with
Minshew. I think the reason the Raiders
Minshew hot garbage, bro.
I think the reason why
I'm sorry, but
I think why they win
hot garbage, bro. He's 7th in the league in passing yards, but he fucking somehow manages to look like a fucking hot dog turd on a griddle every week. Dude.
Well, I think with Minshew, they signed Minshew because he's kind of got that. He kind of had that kind of Raiders swag that you like in a quarterback, right? He kind of had that swag the other places he's been, and he gets to Vegas and they find out, oh, it was a facade.
Yep.
He was faking.
You guys really blame Davante for wanting out, though. You guys blame Davante. He went there because he wanted to be with this quarterback. They don't have a real quarterback, and in his business, if they don't have a quarterback thrown to him, you know.
Well, no,
I don't blame the man for wanting to go follow Rodgers. I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
I don't blame him for wanting.
No, I don't blame
him. Gone either.
I don't blame him, but at the same time, it's like I don't have to sit here and
I agree, bro. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying there's a lot of hate because Davante left, but he didn't leave because he wanted to. He left because they got rid of his quarterback. They got rid of his guy, and now you gave him nothing else. And he tried it. He didn't like it, and he wants out. That's all.
See, but I disagree with Buddy's comment here because, like, it's a false narrative. The Raiders are not in rebuild mode. The Raiders actually have a sneaky talented roster. It's just we have a lot of starters that are injured right now, number one, and we have no quarterback, number two. Like, no, that's a huge missing piece. And we have no running back. We thought Zamir White was going to be the guy, and he's shown that he's not. But we're not. I think we're a lot closer to competing than we are to rebuilding. I think the Raiders will take this draft, try to build depth at key positions like offensive line. I think they'll get another running back. Our receiving core is pretty decent even without Devontae. We have two tight ends. Like when Michael Mayer finally comes back, we have two tight ends that are really, one of them is going to be a superstar. The other is going to be a good tight end for us for a couple of years until they probably trade him when it's time to pay him because they don't need him anymore. Because Bowers will have ascended. But I think the Raiders are just a couple of key pieces away from being a competitive team.
One thing that's going right.
And I think they can get those pieces in free agency next year. Like I said, the Raiders have $108 million in cap space next year, dude. And they're going to be drafting a rookie quarterback. So $50 million of that's not going to the quarterback. So the Raiders have the money to get some key free agents. They have the money to re-sign a lot of the guys that are producing. And they're going to get rid of some guys that aren't producing or that aren't part of the culture. Next year's team is going to look a lot different than this year's team. But there will still be those key guys on the offense and on the defense. Like Jacoby Myers will stay, right? Brock Bowers will still be there. We'll get a new running back. We'll get a new quarterback. We're probably going to get a new center because our center is terrible. Andre James is terrible. I'm not a fan of Cody Whitehair.
One thing that's going right for you, Joe, is your call for Brock Bowers. He's been shining.
I told you, bro, like that dude is going to be a superstar. And especially once we get a quarterback that can move in the pocket and not take the sack, like, get time to get it to him. Like that's going to be a connection. I'm not against getting Shedeur Sanders. Like I like the tools that he has. I think he's mobile. Talented. I think he's accurate for the most part. Like, I like the fact that he's a competitor. He has his dad's competitive edge in him. He doesn't want to lose. Like, I think part of the problem for Shedeur is that he plays on a not very talented team. Like
Colorado team.
They have some. He plays for Colorado, and their offensive back that he's been able to do what he's been able to do with that offensive line is impressive.
Yeah, offensive line's terrible.
If you put him on a team with an offensive line, like he would probably be in the Heisman consideration.
Oh yeah.
So, Joe,
he's got talent.
How much time do you give AP? Like, how many seasons do you give AP?
I give him minimum 3 seasons. Like I give him 3 seasons, not counting this one, because this one is kind of like the lost season already. We got injured from the very beginning. We had the bullshit with Devontae. We had no quarterback. I say next year he gets his quarterback and a running back, and then you add some pieces through free agency. You get some depth in the draft. You're probably not going to be a Super Bowl team that year. You're starting a rookie quarterback. There's going to be some growing pains, but you should see signs of improvement. And then the following season, you should be in the playoffs. And if you're not, then, I could see like, okay, well, we've given you everything. Like I could see AP being on the hot seat if they're not in the playoffs by that second year.
Isn't it amazing how one head coach who's there for 2 years can just utterly set back a franchise this much? I mean,
yeah.
They were ascending, man, and then you bring in this jackwagon from New England, and he has ruined that franchise now, going on its 3rd year.
I told everybody as soon as he was hired, it was like, this is the wrong move by the Raiders. This guy sucked as a Denver head coach. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This guy, the only thing that he's getting credited for is the Super Bowl wins with, the Patriots running the offensive coordinator spot. But all he belongs to be is an offensive coordinator. That's it. You know what I mean? Him being a head coach was never going to work. You know what I mean? And Raiders took a chance on him, and you know what I mean. And they're paying for it. It just,
I mean, I
the
guess
guy
they
just
hope
bad
that.
news.
I guess they hope that he had learned from his mistakes in Denver. He obviously didn't, because he did the exact same thing in Vegas he did in Denver. He ran off the starting quarterback they were having success with. He ran off the talent to rebuild in his image and got fired well before they could. And then when he leaves, the team struggles for a couple years. And I hope for the Raiders' sake, unlike Denver, who had to go through then 2 other head coaches, right, to finally get to a point where they're finally that they give AP the time to do what's required, because I think that hopefully the Mark Davis and the Raiders have learned from this is it's going to take AP, like Joe said, 3 more years probably we need to give them after this to rebuild what the last guy destroyed.
See,
I think the Raiders could jumpstart that if they're willing to make some moves, though. Like personally, like I said, they're it looks like they're being paired with Shedeur, but if it was me, I would go ahead and make the trade, because you're going to be in the top 10 already, probably. I would go ahead. Trading from 9 to 1 is a lot easier than trading from 13 to 1, you know? So I would just trade up to 1 and take Cam Ward. I think you could jumpstart it big time by just making that trade. And you have the draft picks to do it. And like, for example, Carolina's won 1 game. So odds are Carolina's probably going to be picking number 1 again. Do you really think that they're going to want to go and pick a quarterback at number 1 with the lack of talent around him? Like, I think Carolina would be open to trading that number 1 pick out, still having a top 10 pick, and taking our picks for the next couple years or a year after that to build a team around.
Well, here's the question. What if Manning comes out and then makes himself available for the draft? Does that change it for Carolina even?
No, I don't think Manning's coming out this year, because he's not starting the whole year. He's not going to be a first-round draft pick if he comes out this year.
Yeah, he's already been replaced by Ewers. Ewers is back and playing for Texas. So
I don't think there's any way. I think Manning's going to have at least 1 full year of starting before he comes out.
Yeah.
And other teams are going to know that, which is why I say I think Carolina would be willing to make a deal like that, because they know that Manning's coming out in the next draft. You have a chance to put some players around him in this upcoming draft and the following one, right? Like, you take the Raiders.
So basically do what the Bears did.
Yeah. I think you do what the Bears did.
Do what the Bears did to Carolina.
Yeah. I think you do what the Bears – I think Carolina should do that to the Raiders, except I don't think that the Raiders will get fleeced, because I think Cam Ward is going to be a good quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, that's why I think the Panthers choose him.
And they probably don't have a DJ Moore to give up.
I think the Panthers choose Cam Ward. You know what I mean?
Well,
Like,
we'll just give up straight up draft picks. Like,
yeah, that's the QB that's going to jumpstart, your team. You build around Cam Ward. Like, Bryce, I already knew, like, I told many people this. When Bryce Young was drafted, I was like, this guy's not going to be good. He's not. You know what I mean? Like, yes, he played on some pretty good college teams, but that doesn't mean he's going to be a good quarterback. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Like, there's many quarterbacks that have done that played on good college teams, put up decent numbers, but when they come into the NFL, they become a potato. Because guess what? You're playing around players that are the best in college. Of course you look better than what you are. You know what I mean? But Cam Ward, literally, like, if you watch this guy play, I mean, I know Joe and I watch a lot of college. This Cam Ward has the it factor. You know what I mean? Like, he's the Jaden Daniels that if he comes out, or the CJ Stroud that comes out of this college. And
that's why I said if the Raiders take him, they could jumpstart
and
their
on
whole
that
team.
go
ahead.
And on that last terrible take about the upcoming draft, we have to say farewell for the week. We'll see you guys back here Monday morning. Don't forget the weekend shows. Is there going to be a Packers show tonight? I believe there will be. Frozen Tundra tonight. Hallis Hall Sunday, as well as Red Zone Rant and Open Mic this weekend. Everyone have a great weekend. We'll see you back here Monday. Bye-bye.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire Stick TV, Facebook, and YouTube. Get all your sports news here first. The daily podcasts are Ken and Ken in the Morning, Lions Talk with Smoking Jeremy B, Wrestling Roundup, The Big Football Show, and more, Shield TV, Lions Villain Report, and Red Zone Rant. The afternoon podcasts are Valhalla, Brosef Sports, WCFL Dolphins Talk, The Cheap Seats, The Bodkin Show, Spirit of Detroit Podcast, and MM-Maniacs. The nightly podcasts are Palace Hall Report, Frozen Tundra Network, Skull Gang 365, The Huddle Sports Network.